Hello. We're going to do a practice on the ground or on the floor. Come onto your hands and knees. And take a breath and soften and open. Then push your arms straight and breathe into the back of your ribs. Lift your tail up. Keep your head back. And let's pulse with our breath now. On your exhale, sit your hips back toward your heels. Inhale, spring your ribs forward. Exhale, root back. Inhale, spring forward. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, ribs forward. Then separate your hands wide. So for most of us, the hands will be off the edges of our mat. Walk your knees back and lift your feet up so the legs are bent towards square. We're going to do panther push-ups. So push your arms straight again and breathe into the back of your ribs. Fill up your tank. Then sit your hips back so you have a lumbar curve. Keep your head back so you have a neck curve. And now we're going to go halfway down to the floor. So keeping your back ribs full, bend your elbows out to the side. Press your elbows forward as you come about halfway down. Try to keep your back ribs full. Keep your tail up, keep your head back. And then inhale, push back up. We'll do it again. So fill up your tank, breathe into your back ribs, sit back a little, keep your head back, and go halfway down. So the elbows push out and forward. Inhale, push into your arms and rise back up. Exhale, hips back. Push your arms straight again, and then bend your elbows, come halfway down. Inhale, push back up. Lift your tail, keep your ribs full, and do this one more time. Halfway down, panther push-up. And then inhale, rise back up. Then put your feet on the ground and come to Sphinx arms. So you make a soft fist with your hands. We call this seed hands. Turn your palms to face each other. Then take your elbows under your shoulders and bring your wrist in line with your elbows. Press into your forearms and fill up your back ribs. Lift your tail again. Squeeze your heels isometrically together and lift your base glutes up. Keep your head back. And then hover your right elbow off the ground an inch or two. Put it back down. Hover your left elbow. Put it down. Right. And down, and then left elbow. Hover your left elbow. Then put your left elbow down. Keep the outer wrist hollow. We call this the ice pick maneuver. So you press your little finger mounds down and hollow the outer wrist, and that will keep some tone in the back of your arms and the back of your shoulders. Now hover both elbows up. Sit your elbows down. Hover and sit down. Try to keep the outer wrist hollow. One more time. Hover your elbows. Sit your elbows down. Now press the tops of your feet into the ground and push your ankles up off the ground. We call these hero feet. Squeeze your heels toward each other and once again lift your base glutes up. Keep your head back as you continue to press into your forearms. And then if you can, or try this, hover your knees off the floor, keeping your knees bent. This is our crouching Sphinx pose. Then put your knees down. Hover your knees again. Put your knees on the ground. One more time, hover your knees. This time hold it, breathe. And then put your knees down. Then come back up into all fours. Take your knees to the right. Sit your left hip on the ground for a seated side twist. So hips root back. Head presses back, and then crescent a little to the left. Then come back up. Take your knees to the left, sit your right hip back and down. Seated side twist on this side. Crescent to the right. Hips back, head back. Inhale, push back up. Go back to the right with your knees, seated side twist again. This time crescent to the left and slide your left arm out. Side bow pose. Rest your head on your left arm. Bend your legs towards square, one stacked over the other. And then take your right hand in front of your ribs and push into the ground with your arm and hand and try to fill up your ribs even more. Lift your ribs up toward your head. Then root your hips back. So the hips go back, the tail stays up. Keep your head back. Side bow pose. Now lift your top leg, your right leg, a couple of inches. Flex your ankle and curl your toes downward. And then begin to bicycle that leg slowly. So dig your paw, the front part of your foot, down and forward. Then drag your heel back and up. Dig, drag. Then lay your right leg back on your left. Then roll to your tummy for tummy time. Bend your legs square. Come up on your elbows and make heart hands with your two hands. So spiral both sets of fingers in. So you have two soft fists or seed hands. Then press your little finger mounds together. And then when you look at it, you've got a heart. Then push your knees down and move your hips back so your groin's off the ground. And keep your head back and you can look at your heart hands. Ankles flexed, toes curled up toward the sky. Groins are off the ground. And breathe here, sending love to yourself. And now send love to all other beings. Then lower your hips to the ground, lower your feet. And then roll to your right side. We'll do side bow on the right, just like we did on the left side. So stretch your right arm up. Turn. Bend your legs square. Take your left hand and push it into to the ground and fill up your rib cage again. Lift your rib cage up. Then move your hips back a little more. Scoot them back. Curl your toes downward and flex your ankles. Then press your head back. Hover your top leg now. Keep your hips back and begin to bicycle your legs slowly. With a dig, with a drag, your glutes won't sag. Keep cycling. Lay your leg down and then roll to your back. Wriggle back onto your mat. And bring your arms up in a wide V. Arch your low back off the ground. Keep your head pressing back into the ground. And then push more through your right arm. Push it up toward the sky. Allow your right shoulder to come off the ground. And breathe into the back side of your ribs on the right side. Especially breathe into the back lower ribs. And then bring that arm down a little, and then push the left arm up toward the sky. Breathe into the back of your left ribs, especially the lower ribs. And then bring that arm down and push both arms up. Push your upper back down into the ground. Keep your lower back arch off the ground. Keep your head pressing back. And now we'll bring both legs up, bent square, with ankles flexed and toes curled downward. Let's bicycle here. So you can go slow, with a dig and a drag with your feet. The dig drag action engages the front and the back sides of your legs. Now take your arms toward the ground over your head or toward the floor, and begin to extend your legs a little longer as you continue to bicycle. Okay, and then bring both legs up and plant your feet back on the ground. Lift your hips up and sit them down. Bring your arms now into how wonderful arms. How wonderful. How wonderful. So the arms open. You can make the seed hands again or soft fist with your hands. Then press your hands into the ground or toward the ground. Press your elbows up toward the sky. And keep the front of your shoulders moving down toward the ground. If you can, put your hands on the ground, but the arms are open. Open. Press your elbows up. How wonderful arms. And then take your arms closer to your body. Allow your palms to open, your fingers to open. Keep the curve in your back. And slide your legs out for the last pose, assimilation pose. Relax your jaw. Let your eyes settle in the back of your eye sockets. And just rest here for a few moments. You can rest here for a longer time if you want, but when you're ready to come up, stretch your arms over your head again toward the ground. Then bend your knees and crescent to one side. So take your knees to the floor and push up to sitting. Root your hips back. Once again, take your arms up toward the sky. Push out from your heart. Push out through both arms. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart. With gratitude, thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. I honor the light in you.